Usually a few months after a main series Pokemon game has come out, people start to wonder what will come next in the Pokemon franchise. And today we're going to talk about some possibilities, things we'd like to see, and things that we can almost definitely rule out. First of all, thank you so much for 40 subscribers. We appreciate just every single person who subscribed to our channel, and I know that it's not a lot, but we really do appreciate everyone. Right, now it's time for an investigation into what will be the next Pokemon game. We can't decide what it'll be, because obviously that's up to Nintendo and Game Freak in what they want to make, and it's fully their decision. But we can kind of make a bit of a hypothesis for it, rule some things out, talk about what we'd like to see, and you guys can tell us what you'd like to see. The first game to talk about is naturally Delta Emerald, and I want to talk about this first because this is the game that I want to almost completely rule out. And the reason for that is we got the Delta episode. Delta episode was an add-on to the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire games, which kind of filled in so that they didn't have to make a Delta Emerald. And for that reason, I do want to completely rule this out. The way that the Delta episodes were set up was, after you'd completed the game, it would have a cutscene saying, it would just say Delta episode, as if it was kind of a separate story. And they put that together to kind of fill in for a Delta Emerald game. Okay, moving on to the next possibility, I think it could be X and Y 2, which would be following along on the Black and White pathway, or probably more likely to be Pokemon Z, and we're going to talk about why. The first reason why Pokemon Z is a more viable option is because Zygarde had no backstory with it in the X and Y games. We just stumbled upon it in Terminus Cave, but it also had the Adamant Orb and the Lustrous Orb nearby, which could suggest a Temporal Diamond and the Celestium Pearl, but we will talk about that a little later in the video. Game Freak could easily add more to Zygarde's story, but I want to talk again about X and Y 2, and a reason why this might not happen. The first reason why X and Y 2 might not happen is just because it will be following the exact same route that Black and White did, and people do not really like repetition, and it might not sell that well. Game Freak did incredibly well with X and Y, and kind of repeating the same story again, that could be a pretty bad move for them. Going with the pattern that they've been going on lately, they had Black and White, then after Black and White 2, clearly they moved on to X and Y, then they went to a remake. So people are probably going to be expecting a brand new game, new region, new Pokemon, just like X and Y was when it came out. The second reason is that the story of X and Y has finished. The legendary Pokemon have been awakened, we've saved the world, it's over. I can't really see personally where they can take the games and what they can do with them to make it a fresh, new, exciting game which people are going to want to play. Something which I have found under the category of Gen 7 games is something called Plus and Minus, which I'm not sure that there's any official evidence, any leaks from Game Freak or Nintendo, but I'm just putting out there that this is a possibility and this exists as something among the fan community at the moment. I would personally like to see a Gen 1 game remade into 3D and have it redone, possibly with some changes to make it new, but the reason that I want this is because it'll be incredibly nostalgic for a lot of people, I think, and to see the first Pokemon game that they ever made be remade would just be a really good idea for them. I think it would sell incredibly well, a lot of people would want to play it, and this is definitely one of the things I'd like to see most in an upcoming Pokemon game. Personally, I'm almost certain that the next remake to come from Pokemon is definitely, or almost definitely, gonna be Pokemon Temporal Diamond and Celestial Pearl, because these are the Gen 4 remakes, this is what we want, and this would kind of have a very emotional connection to me, because they were the first games that I ever played, and Got hundreds of hours on there. Loads and loads of Pokemon, completed Pokedex. I even got like the Arceus event, so I think this would be a very beneficial game to add into the series. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this quest through Pokemon past and future. And oh my god, I just killed something. Well, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.